Hello there. I wanted to do another video, and for a time I wasn't sure as a topic, what topic to do. But recently I was chatting with someone, and somewhere in the conversation the aspect of passing came up, and it's a subject that uh, is covered in the blog of someone I follow, which is Amethyst or Ask an Autistic, which you can look her up on YouTube. I follow all of her videos, and I definitely plan on covering that, but something came up recently that has kind of had me feeling off for a while. And I was having a conversation with someone after sharing a status on Facebook. The status I put up was saying that today is a day with a lot of stimming involved, or something along those lines. And my father had replied to it asking what stimming was. And so I shared a link to Ask an Autistic's video of stimming because I thought it was a good description of it. And someone who was on my friends list, who I knew just a little bit from one of the groups I'm in, had made a comment about having issues with that video. And I had asked about what it was, and her reply was that stimming was not. Stimming was slang for something else, something that everyone does, as far as finger tapping, rocking, foot tapping, or knee shaking. And I'm like, well, yes, everyone does that, but stimming's a bit different. To a neurodivergent person or someone on the spectrum, it's something that can really help calm things down or quiet the mind a bit or help focus the senses. And she said that it was not, that's not true. That's not correct. And in regards to sensory processing disorder, she said it was pseudoscience, that people do not take in information differently. That she said that how people respond to stimuli is based on previous experience and learned behavior in response to that stimuli. And I said, well, I can understand that some things are definitely going to become a habit. Some things can be traumatic. Certain experiences can be impactful and affect how we respond to it later on, but not 100%. Some things just, our brains are just wired different. Things are processed different for different people. And she was saying that no, that's not the case. It's just all learned behavior. Who we are is completely learned behavior. And I said, well, it felt kind of invalidating about who I am as a autistic person and just being different in general. And I said, well, there's a whole community of people on the autism spectrum who would feel differently about that. And she said that autism is just a label for those who have not developed the knowledge or the tools needed to function in society. And I had trouble with that. I mean, I understood that there definitely are some things that can help cope and adjust. There are definitely some things that can help, that you can learn by being more aware of yourself. But there are just certain things that can't be avoided. There will be certain things I will not do well at. I will not be able to handle certain types of big crowds depending on the event. There are certain social situations I will not do well at and have anxiety if presented with. And it just really felt kind of a struggle with it. And it became involved, and I definitely tried to be respectful and I wanted to listen and understand how this person came to feel and think the way they do. And I was just really confused by the whole thing because this person had said that pretty much everything is in the nature versus nurture, it's all nurture. And I'm like, well, it's very hard for me to believe in absolutes, that one source of information, one set of details can determine the ultimate truth. That didn't feel very logical to me. And so I was definitely struggling with that. I was very confused. And I'm also very susceptible to influence. And so I just was feeling like a lot of things are the way that I know and feel and think. Like, are those wrong? Am I getting all this wrong? It made me wonder. There had to be something to it. Otherwise, what would cause one person and I'm sure others to believe such things so strongly, unless there was something to it? But with some support and encouragement from others, close friends and others in the autistic community, I was able to come back to center. And yeah, it was very, I try to keep open and understanding others and where they come from, but it was definitely difficult to go through that because you have a number of people who feel broken, feel like they just aren't made for the way that the world works, and don't go out much or talk to people because just so afraid and so confused by how it all works. And then, if lucky, someday we get exposed to something. Either we meet someone, or we read something, or we see a video that mentions autism, stimming, overwhelming senses or overstimulation, passing, and things start to come together and start to feel more accepting towards self, and start to develop tools and becoming more self-aware. And becoming more self-aware, you can tell people close to you about, hey, I found this out, this explains and makes sense to me, and so if I share it with you, we can all be aware and things go smoothly. I can go out, I just need to be careful about certain situations. And so for someone to suggest that that's all wrong, that we just need to learn the right way to be, well, that is, I feel like what they're suggesting is suggesting that we just pass, that we put on faces, moods, and gestures and habits that help other people function and other people feel comfortable, when it's rather painful for us. At least for me, it feels painful. If I were to go through a social interaction, for the most part, even if I do it well, it's still frustrating, difficult, and painful. And I used an analogy once of, it's like putting together a puzzle made of barbed wire while blind. And even if I am familiar with the puzzle and I do it right, it's still going to be painful. But there are so many things that require adapting or accommodating. And so thus comes this difficulty of passing. And there are those who might not look like might not think that they have anything different about them, or that they're disabled or have anything mentally going on. That is because we've been required to do that, and it's very difficult to break out of that. If I allowed myself to stim and vocalize and express everything I feel while I'm at work, it would probably be disruptive. I hope no one has to deal with that too much. And yes, everyone goes through it to a different extent. I understand that. But everyone wants to be understood. And just as if you had a phobia, or whether mental or physical, if you had a phobia or if you had an allergy or a traumatic experience, you would want to be understood, and you would want to be able to get by in your life without having to worry about it too much. We all want that. For some reason, it's very difficult for people to accept and deal with when they can't see it as obvious as if someone had a physical disability. And so in order to get by, and sometimes, unfortunately, even with people close to us, in order to make friends, keep friends, and whatnot, we might do things that might not be considered normal or comfortable. I would like to cover this subject more. It is rather late, and I want to get different states of mind when doing these posts. And so here is a kind of tired late night example, and then maybe I'll do another little bit in the morning. I like the idea of kind of keeping it random and not too structured. Yes, a certain amount of planning and structure and scripting might be helpful, but I want to give a certain perspective on how it can feel and look for some people in the spectrum or who are neurodivergent. That sometimes it's going to be hard. Sometimes there's moments of silence or awkwardness. I want to give that perspective to people. And so maybe I'll do some more in the morning. If not, I will do some after work tomorrow. But I would like to talk a bit more on passing. Maybe I'll find an article or watch a video or two just to give an idea, but I won't do too much preparing or rehearsing, just to keep it fresh. Yeah. But I welcome comments, I welcome input, suggestions, other topics, and yeah. I thank you for those who watch and those who subscribe. It means a lot to me. I do hope you are well.